Hello and welcome to English with Mario. Today we are going to give some tips how to learn English. And in the studio with me is Emma. She is an English teacher at Drogheda Educate Together in Drogheda. So, Emma, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very fine.
Good.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We are going to talk about English, and I would like to give some tips to our audience. And what is the best way to learn English?
So is this from a perspective of somebody who doesn't speak any English? Yeah. So I would say, what I would tell my students, so I do have students who aren't from Ireland and they would struggle a lot. So what I would say is, and it sounds so silly, but it works, on Netflix, watch shows in English, but have your language subtitles at the bottom. And then you're making that connection of the words and what they mean. Another way is to kind of immerse yourself in somewhere that speaks English, because the only way you're going to learn is if you're speaking. So for like yourself, like coming to Ireland and just having to speak English, like you have no choice other than to pick up on words. I think that's the best way. And then the likes of like Duolingo and stuff like that, I know everybody talks about them, but it's really, really helpful because you can just kind of sit there and it feels like you're just playing a game, but you're actually learning without realising. So I think that would be the best way, I would say.
So you advise people to use Duolingo. Do you think it's an excellent app?
I think so, yeah, I think so, definitely. And I have students in my class who use it, and they've definitely, like their English definitely has come out along a lot more than it would have been at the beginning of the year.
Do you think people struggle more when they are reading, writing, speaking? Which do you think people get more trouble?
Reading.
Really?
Because you can see some of my things that I have here. There's a lot of words in English that they sound the same, but they're totally different. Like we've got there, your, and it's like, what? So then when you're reading that, it's very difficult to comprehend like which word you're using here, and is it right? So I think I notice with my students that don't speak English very well, they really struggle with reading, but then their English when they're speaking is fine. So I think reading definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when we go to the class, we are in class, usually we are learning grammar. Is there one subject which you say, wow, this one is very difficult to students get into?
As in something like grammar?
Yes.
Grammar and spelling. 100%.
But inside the grammar is, for example, people struggle more with like verb to be or another stuff. Which do you think is more difficult? Because in Brazil usually we struggle a lot with verb to be.
Okay. In what way? Explain.
For example, when we are the difference between I am, you are, he is, she is. So and like if we go to the past, everything changed.
Yeah.
I was, you were. So in Brazil we joke, we never learned this one.
Really? No way.
Is in Ireland the same?
Yeah. So you know, for me, because I'm not from like teaching English as a foreign language, like that's very surprising for me to hear, because in my head I'm like, but why? Because that's just how I've always spoken, so I've never thought about it like that. But I would agree with you actually on that point, because I have a student, she's from Syria, and she does struggle with that, and I never picked up on the fact that it's all past tense, like everything changes but it means the same thing. So yeah, that's a good point. I think, what do they struggle the most with? See, it's so different for everybody. I think I would just agree with you there on verbs and changing verbs into past and present tense, because there's so many different types in English. So yeah.
For example, verb regular and irregular. I think it is another problem, big issue.
Yeah.
Because when it's regular, only ed and everything is okay.
It's fine.
But when it's irregular,
yeah, I know.
You are teacher, so you teach English, but you taught English.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Or I learned in school. No, actually, sorry. Some of the teachers, even Irish teachers, oh, I learned them this today. I'm like, you taught. So even English speakers struggle with that. Definitely.
Really?
Oh yes, 100%. Yeah. Somebody only said it the other day, and I was like, that's wrong. But yeah.
Because like as I'm a foreigner, sometimes I think some stuffs only me as foreigner get
confused.
in trouble, confused.
No, definitely not. And especially with spellings, like even English speaking people, like their spelling is so bad.
Those students who are learning with you and they are from abroad, are they getting English easily or no?
It takes a while. So the student that I have who's from Syria, they've been, obviously they're in third year now, and it's only now that it's kind of she's starting to improve. But in saying that, her speaking is improving, whereas her writing is kind of always stayed kind of the same. So if you're not speaking it, you won't, like, that's why I'm saying immerse yourself where you speak English. She would be quite quiet. So she doesn't speak it necessarily, and therefore her English is kind of wilting a little bit. But that's not the same for everybody, because I have a student from Ukraine, and his English is amazing.
In 1 year or 2 years?
In 1 year. So it's really dependent on the person. And I think the best way as well to learn is to read. So what I would always say to those students is have your English book open, like just a novel, a normal book, and have your dictionary open. And that way you're going to come across the same words over and over and over again. Like, I know there's a lot of words in the English language, but like we don't use them all that often. So if you kind of get used to those words and write your language above it, it's going to improve over time. And with that student, that's what they do. Whereas with the other student, I've been telling them to do it, but they won't. And you can see the difference there in how they're improving.
What thing students enjoy more in your class?
Well, in terms of Irish students and English, they hate poetry. I know that's
really?
They hate poetry.
I'm surprised.
I know. They hate poetry. They like reading because, like, I'm reading them the book and they can just kind of relax. And you know, they don't really read at home anymore. So I think they have this idea of like, books are boring, like, so I don't read. And then when they actually are sitting reading the book, they love it and they don't realise. But yeah, poetry, they hate poetry. They hate poetry because there's a lot of figurative language, and it's not just reading the poem for what it is. You have to kind of look into
it's more complex.
Yeah, and you have to look into the deeper meaning, and they're just like, oh, I don't like it. But it's good. Some of them like it, just not all of them.
And what is the best way to enjoy while you are learning English?
Reading. I love reading, and like I would often put them into like groups and pairs, so they would have to kind of work with each other. And I think taking away like the teacher's input and just like, let's say if I give them a poem and I'm like, okay, you sit there and you figure it out with the person beside you. Like at the start they'll mess, but then they'll kind of get really into it, and they can kind of come up with their own conclusions rather than me trying to tell them what it is. So I think just letting them work themselves and figure it out themselves, that's definitely what they enjoy the most. Just being able to be a little bit more free with what they're doing.
Okay, that's lovely for today. So if you enjoy this video, please share and Coming to my social media is mariobeneditolima.com. See you soon!